Welcome back, guys. This is Lindsay and this is Linda's Investings. I'm giving you another update on my portfolio. So last year I bought a bunch of BRRRRs in Gary, Indiana, and one of them just finished. It was a long process. This is in 46407, and this BRRRR was my first multifamily, which is what I wanted to achieve in Gary. I've been trying to get into duplex or triplexes or small quadruplex for a long time. So I bought this one. I saw it for sale for $40,000, and there's some videos on my channel, some shorts of walkthrough. But here we go again. When I purchased this property, I needed to get a bid from a contractor. I was thinking, since I purchased for $40,000, I was able to rehab it for $60,000. That was wishful thinking, but ended up getting into contract with one of the contractors. Actually never used him before, but turned out to be a great partnership actually. So how we structured the contract for this property, it was I would pay for labor separately than materials. So materials will come for I will reimburse the contractor for materials. So every time they would go and buy anything, they will have to get a receipt. And then the way that I did this is because I, by the advice of my property manager, we'd be able to save a little bit if I paid for materials, reimburse for materials, because when I was getting bids for the quotes, all the quotes that I was getting over 100K of 100K of work. And since we were trying to break it down by trade, we thought that we would be able to save some money. Anyways, you can see this property looks a little bit good. It's a brick building, so I love brick buildings in general. But this house needed permits for framing. It needed 2 new bathrooms, 2 new kitchens, a whole new HVAC, new plumbing, new electrical throughout, exterior lights, interior lights, fixtures, outlets, switches, can lights, painting, flooring, doors and trims. You name it, it needed it. So we structured the contract for labor on this property to be $50,000, and I will reimburse the materials. So like I mentioned earlier, I thought it would be cheaper. I estimated materials to be about $30,000, just in general, broad sense of materials, but it actually came out to be about $32,000. But this house, like the whole exterior and structure, it's good, and the roof had, according to the listing, had just been recently changed. So we are into the whole rehab, and I'm thinking I bought it for 40. I'm gonna put 80 total into, so 120. My ARB estimation of the property was 180,000. So I thought as long as I hit the 180,000, 70% of it, I will be able to get all my money back, even if there's some costs that I did not anticipate. So going into rehab and reimbursing for materials as we go. When flooring was done in the first and the second floor, this two-story, there's started to do some leaking earlier in the year, actually April of this year, because we had some storms in Gary. And my contractor calls me and tells me, you have a leak in the roof. And I'm like, okay, just patch it then, I thought. According to him and my property manager, they went up there. Actually, like, the roof is pretty high up, so they got drone pictures and drone videos and whatever. So the whole recommendation was, this is a new roof for me. This is a flat roof, so I didn't know much about it. I changed roofs in the past without problem, but this is a modified bitumen roof, which are more expensive to change and repair. And so what had happened is that they had not replaced the roof in the past. What they did is they rolled on this silicone based covering material that it's hopefully, you know, extends the lifetime of the roof, but that silicone roll-on material was cracking. So when I saw the videos and I saw the pictures, I saw all of the cracking. Actually, I'm going to show you some of the pictures too. But so I saw all the cracking. So, and then there was no flashing around the fireplace and other things that were concerning about the roof. So I came to the conclusion of needing to repair it, replace it. So I done roofs before. I'm like, okay, this is gonna cost somewhere in the vicinity of $8,000 to like $12,000 according per the size of the unit. And no, actually modified bitumen roofs cost significantly more. This is a flat roof. So my first quote was $21,000, which I was like, hell to the no. We're not doing that. We're gonna roll another coat of silicone base, whatever. I'm not gonna do it. No. Okay, well, I had a come to Jesus moment and then got more quotes. The same contractor was able to get a bid down to $15,000 to change the roof. So we did that. We changed the roof. Well, I'm thinking this is the worst news that you can have, because if you don't remember, 840 plus 80, 120K plus an additional 15K of the roof. That's a projected. So that was not in the projection, I mean, but that is what ended up costing significantly more. Now I'm thinking I'm gonna leave money in the deal, which I didn't mention. I think I'm partnering up with my sister on this property. So this property has to be able to pay us both back because we went into 50-50. So my sister is thinking like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, or I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyways, I'm explaining to her that these are things that happen when you're doing bursts, and when you're starting to work out. I mean, I thought that I had enough room, like 10% of wiggle room when I'm doing my beds or I'm doing my rehabs, and then it seems like it's been more recently. So 15% or 20% would be a more accurate budget to have as an overplus. Just make sure that you're always budgeting whatever bid that you get. Budget, like, it used to be 10% for me, but you now budget 20% more on top of what you think you're going to spend. And then this is all of these things are going on in the country too, like tariffs are going up, prices of things are going up, and the uncertainty is actually building up. But anyways, I ended up having to replace the roof. I'm at $135K. Doing the math, actually, I'm 100. So I spent $32,000 in materials. So $137,000. Again, I started the process of cashing out. My estimated ARB was 180, but during this all of the rehab, another property went on the market in the same neighborhood, and the property was listed for 199. So, and what I told my lender was that the ARB probably would be 190. So when I came down to appraisal, I just appraised the property and it came back at 190. So that was a good call on my part. Like, I'm getting better at estimating ARB because the first time I totally fell. And so if you want to see the video, please go check out my first BRRRR video, which would let you know that anything can happen now. I can handle it. So back to this deal. So okay, 190. So if we do the math, you look at that math back here, 190 all in, 75% of it, it's 142,000. The interest rate I'm looking at is 7.5. Mortgage, you may see it taxes are significantly low, but right now the property is assessed to be only $10,000, so I have to pay 22% of the assessed value currently. This number is going to change when it triggers reassessment, but for the time being, I don't simulate that reassessment is going to be triggered at least in the next 2 years, so I'm going to keep it at $17. My insurance, actually, it's going to be $158 monthly. Let me change that. Property manager, again, is 8%. My total in is $1,363, and I can rent out each unit for $1,200, so estimated rents of $2,400. So after setting aside vacancy repairs and capital expenditures, I will be able to cash flow around $677 per month, divided by 2. Remember, I'm doing this with my sister, but a return on cash investment of $8,000. So there's a lot of numbers there, but since I'm getting $142,000, I have to deduct the closing costs of my loan. So it's going to be somewhere in the vicinity of $5,000 to $6,000, but I put $6,000 just because I'm being conservative. So I'm going to be paying myself and my sister back $136,500, which we have a total in of $137,000. So I'm gonna leave about $500 in the deal. But at this time, I'm just gonna count like I didn't leave anything on the deal, because I'm paying most of myself back, even with the additional roof. I definitely wish I wouldn't have that additional roof expense. Is something that came out while we were rehabbing. Some of the benefits of underestimating, like I always try to do that. I always try to be very conservative with my numbers and have a lot of wiggle room in the budget. Even with that, I still am over what I thought I would be. So this is just another learning lesson. I want to say that births continue to be very hard for me, and I don't think it's gonna get any better. I just think things are gonna keep on coming, and I'm just gonna try to keep being better at it. But one of the cons of this rehab, I want to talk about the bad things and the good things. So the bad things is that this rehab I purchased June of last year, so 2024. And when I purchased, I kind of like jumped into the deal because I thought it was good. It was like a very good deal. But then realized I didn't have money for the rehab. Even though I am purchasing by money that I took out on a HELOC, I didn't have enough when I was going through the budget to like rehab. So that's why I got into a partnership with my sister. And so when I talked to my sister about it, she said yes. But then since she didn't have liquidity at the moment, she ended up getting a HELOC on her property. So I was waiting for her to get a HELOC on her property. She ended up getting a HELOC. If you haven't gotten a HELOC in the last 2 years, it's a grueling process now. They ask you for everything. It's even worse than closing on a home conventionally. But anyways, they ask for your like mother's and children's all assets lined up. But yeah, she closed on the HELOC, I think around end of July, like a month after I purchased the property. And then since I kept getting bids over 100K, I was really deciding to see if I waited. I sat down on the property if I would get lower bids during the winter. Since I paid cash for it, I wasn't really paying significant amounts of like no private money nor her money. So I had like the benefit of sitting down on property. So I was thinking of contractors. If I keep getting high bids, then maybe in the winter contractors will be more willing to be more competitive. So I sat down in the winter for that property. So winter in Gary, Indiana, it's pretty cold. So nobody works apparently, or nothing works per se. So when I sat down in the winter, I realized that like for this property, all the utilities were off. Obviously, there's no plumbing, no electrical, but just getting anything done via utility wise, like reconnecting the water, reconnecting the gas, reconnecting the electricity, was near impossible during the winter. So needless to say, I'm never gonna start another rehab during the winter, but I did come up with that contract of like I will pay for labor and then I will pay for materials, and that ended up turning in lower than 100K. So there was some upside by doing that, but also it just delayed the rehab by a lot of time. So the one of the barriers that we kept getting into was utilities. Utilities were so hard. Water was cut off at the city level. Gas was cut off at the city level. They have to repipe the gas into the property. Again, this property has been empty for a long time. But anyways, rehab reno won a whole year. Actually, we just finished. Like, look at that side. Like, there's some stress release right there. But totally finished like 2 weeks ago, and the appraisal was down last week. So I'm expecting to close. I should be getting back 135.5 thousand. So this is just an update. I have another rehab that I can make another video about, but yeah, this is tell me what you think about my reno, or the pictures, or my budget, or my guesstimating. The property is now out for marketing, so I'm hoping to get a tenant in soon. So yeah, this is my duplex history and story. So let me know what I did wrong, if you wouldn't have waited too long, if you have any feedback or you think I'm crazy. I will be making another video pretty soon.